and here in the library.
Okay, it's great. So the recording started, and during this meeting, I propose to discuss the concept of messages, which was proposed in just a couple of lines in the document, to which I am now dropping the link to the chat. It's a concept document. Here it is, and I will now share my screen to explain just a bit of idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah.
Perfect. So here is a concept of messages just in a couple of lines. As we spoke before, there were some solutions which are not based on the blockchain, like it's distributed hash tables, which provides consistency instead of persistence. So that's a different, two different tasks: the persistent storage and the consistency over the network inside these solutions. So I may propose the concept of messages as, let's say, digital objects describing whatever the agent, the user, may do in the network. So the message in this concept may have a limited time to live. So in the most known solutions, it's just 10 minutes. And because I didn't develop any protocol till now, I will do it very soon, just a proposal. What I wanted to propose about the message. When, for example, the agent may log in on the network, he sends the message. And this message, during its time to live, because message is a mutable object, it should be somehow cryptographically signed or read and understood by some other participants of the network. Unless if no one read the message is dropped away. If someone reads the message, sorry, I didn't write it down because it's just let's say now it's just an ideation. When someone reads the message, he should ping the node on which this agent is working to exchange the cryptographic keys to ensure that this node is, let's say, the node that wrote the message. And afterwards, the action or intention described in this message would be accepted by the network. So we don't need to store the history of messages, but we should just store persistently the objects, which are, let's say, over which something was done. What do you think about this concept?
We are talking again object and not the metadata, no? What?
It's a digital object, so it could be a bunch of metadata, of course. So it's very, very generalized. We are speaking about now about the strings, let's say, in which we can, yeah.
This is
so
similar to the batch, or I'm confused. To what in the Eric project was the batch?
No, it's not the badge. Yes, it's not the badge because the badges are also stored persistently.
Yeah.
As the badges, but the badges, the best analogy for the badges are actual badges on GitHub.
Yeah.
So it's a
So
flagging
that's
solution.
yeah, that's what the Eric proposed for like to I thought that the solution that Eric was doing with this batch system is because you have to identify whatever
Yeah.
people are wanting to identify. With the batch, you kind of establish a social hierarchy by accumulating badges on your digital object metadata.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the indexing of a journal uh, on different directories. So
Yes.
if
And
if you're
in the different repositories.
yeah, like if your journal is in DOA or in different repositories, then your journal is kind of okay. It has some prestige. People can look at the badges and feel that they already some hierarchy is there. That was the Eric solution. This one, what I don't understand is the 10 minutes lifetime.
Yeah. So it's
Because
not a badge.
if because this is not the batch. This is like for example, for an agent, uh, okay, this is an agent wanting to be part of a node.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like the first point in the example is the agent sending the message login. So he wants to
Mm-hmm.
log in with a public key and node name.
Mm-hmm.
Before the time to leave ends, should read the message.
And why he has to? I
Ping.
don't understand the lifetime because if you
Because
already if you have already a person with the sufficient how to say I'm missing the word. The word would be like in the rank to accept or reject a person. Why you give it 10
uh,
minutes? Like,
yes, because yeah, because here I was thinking about that not every time it should be done by the human. It also could be an automated procedure.
mm, yeah,
Yeah,
but then
so
you don't need time for if it's automated, even less. But it could be
uh,
it could be human.
yes, yes, it could be human, so it could be, and it could be automated and could be socially recognized or something like that. So it should be more or less convenient for the human.
You know when you manage a signal, signal.
The messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you create a group and then you have requests and invites, then they are pending members that you can accept anytime. Just is pending until you resolve to reject or accept.
Yeah,
That will
but
be
it's
kind of
not.
the same.
Yeah, it could
The
be,
request
but
is the request doesn't need to be recorded. You have just needs
Yes,
to be
yes,
resolved.
yes. It
It
just
doesn't
needs
have
to
to
be
be
resolved.
stored. It just needs to be resolved. But that's why I don't see the use of a lifetime. You will put some value, some it can be a different time zones, and I don't feel the 10 minutes lifetime will solve,
Ah,
because
okay. Yeah, I understand.
you could be in different time
Different time
zones.
zones.
Yeah, you could be in
Yeah, yeah,
China
yeah. In
and
the
ask to join.
yes, yes.
So
This is
it doesn't need
yeah,
to be stored, but it needs to be resolved, and it can be resolved in a positive or negative, like when you ask a request. But you have to have like a dashboard, or some place where you can look at requested, and they call it in Signal, pending request and pending invites, because you can also send a
yeah,
message from the network to join an individual.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
could
yeah.
be an
It's
individual to join the network, or it could be a network to join an individual. So it will be invites and requests, and then you have pending invites and pending requests, and pending, it could be forever until it's resolved. Once it's
yeah.
resolved, if it's in a positive, you just record the link, and if it's a negative, you just erase everything.
Yeah, here this is another target for me. It was a target for me when I was thinking about the concept. That, for example, the nodes, the one agent, one user can own several nodes.
Yeah, yeah,
So
like
uh,
groups in a Signal. You can
uh,
own.
yeah, but it's not about the groups. It's about, for example, different logins from the different devices.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will be the different fingerprint of a node
So
in the
even
decentralized.
if it's one person, you will not identify that was person. That person has to identify itself differently in every node, or it will centralize.
Yeah, to avoid centralization. To avoid
Okay.
centralization, because for example, just a simple example, when the user wants in some system wants to log in over Google, he
Yeah.
identifies himself for Google,
Mm-hmm.
and he obtains the ticket, the token from Google, which is
Mm-hmm.
centralized. But he may do a login from one machine, and he may do a login from the different machine. In
Mm-hmm.
the decentralized network, these machines will have another node IDs. So this
Okay.
we are not so we even in context of persistent identification, we should not trust that this is a same agent.
Okay.
So we should have, yeah, so we should have some, let's say maybe automated, but also the pseudo-social verification, I think. This was in the back of my mind when I was thinking about this.
Okay. So and then, but then how the nodes are created? Who allows a node to be created? How do you
Uh,
start?
so, so if agent, for example, sends the login message, then
So there is at
someone,
least there should be sorry to interrupt. So
Yeah.
the clearance to start a node, it's a centralized clearance.
No, no. To start the node, it should not be. It should not be centralized. This is what I
Okay.
am thinking about. So I may think about what I am writing right now. So it's if the user perhaps he may provide again the token from Google to identify himself by an email. So someone else should read this login message. It could be done automatically. Ping the node from which the user sends the message. Ping the node, and then resolve the something like session key. Session key. This session key should be, let's say, invariant for the user, for the agent. So it should be some procedure that can that user can pass. From let's say from the point of view of the end user, of the human sitting before the keyboard, it could be like let's say two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
Two-factor authentication, or let's say, or email verification, email one-time code. So it's like this. And when it is done over the time to live for a single message, the procedure is considered passed.
Okay. But without the life or with the lifetime.
It is better to have a lifetime because
Okay.
there were some attacks.
Okay.
Yeah. To be honest, I was thinking about only two things. The first, it was the login procedure for an agent, which should be more or less defined. And the second, it was the protection from the flood attacks.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
yes,
With the AI also attacks are getting easier
yes,
and easier.
yes, because we have only not more than 65 billions of potentially written cells in the most convenient distributed hash table. I
Okay.
can easily imagine the swarm of AI agents trying to flood the network and to corrupt some IDs.
Yeah. And then once you break the hash table by overloading,
Yeah,
then the whole network is compromised.
yeah, the whole network is compromised, and also it may open the floodgates to attack the individual users.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was also keeping in mind that the message should be an immutable agent, immutable object, and partially there are actually no open information, but just in the past I had done some efforts on reverse engineering of banking messaging exchange systems. So it's partially inspired by the telex system, which is a predecessor of Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's let's say that this system is extremely slow. It's nearby one message per 5 minutes. but it contains the procedures that it contains the procedures that allow the financial institutions to interact and to exchange even the encrypted data, encrypted metadata.
And then in the communication spam, if it's slow, it cannot be interrupted or
Yeah, it's if it is slow and the messages are immutable, it is very easy to define the shortest rule as it done, for example, in BitTorrent network. So if there is more than one message in the cell of the hash table is dropped back.
okay.
Yeah, so it's let's say it's kind of downgrade to define a human convenient procedure, because what I was thinking about is that the agent in our case should always be considered as a human being. It could be
Yeah.
an AI agent, but it should, in this case, more or less seamlessly imitate the real man.
Yeah. I think it works well.
Okay, okay. So it's I will expand the example and started defining the concept more or less feasible.
Yeah. So it's not. I mean, the person will receive like an authentication code or something like that.
Yeah. So it's just let's say prove yourself on your machine in the current
Yeah.
authentication case and within
So
the
you
limited
you don't
time.
need somebody else to approve yourself.
Yes, you don't need it. It could be done automatically unless there is no one along you in the network.
Okay. Yeah. And then this could be email, could be your org ID, or could be different.
Yes, yes, it should be procedure agnostic. So, for example, if the user wants to use for authentication the ORCID, the ORCID should just lead to some persistent metadata, then addressing it to the same agent key.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so it's
it's okay.
yeah, and the essential question here, we also need to discuss it together with the others. Should the message be considered also as an identifiable object? Because as they are not, they are immutable, but they have time to live, it is not needed, I guess.
No, just it has to
Okay.
be like encrypted or like it should be
Yeah.
like when you send an authentication code. It has
Yes.
a
Yes, and it should be because they are let's say considered encrypted by default.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that's so this ideation, let's say for now, I at least I by myself may consider as more or less feasible, more or less feasible.
Yeah. And in the regarding this concern of Diego about the middle institutions, this will be the realms in your ideation, or how do
Uh,
you think that will work? Because he's moving
huh,
forward.
uh,
I mean, he's moving forward with an idea that talking with him I propose that, in the national universities in Argentina, we have some systems for registering the grades and registering the students that is centralized, but collectively centralized. I mean,
Yeah,
all
so
the
it's
universities
federated,
share,
more.
it's share an integrated system to administering the grades, the students, registering, even purchasing. That is in a centralized, but collectively centralized, not with one agent centralized, but in a coordination of all the universities. And I propose that to that kind of logic, we could offer a persistent identifier following what is already there. So the data published and the journals, articles, and whatever want to be identified persistently would have the same logic in a centralized but collectively centralized model. And that model, it should connect globally with another network. So it's a global solution, not just a local solution, ideally.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah, in my opinion, it was actually it should be possible using just two concepts. The first is encryption by default, and second is trusted login and trusted agents. When for example, yeah.
Yes, the thing is, for example, easily this could be end up in a collectively establishing a database for the national universities and start minting DOIs for everybody to establish a Zenodo-like national effort. And
so it's a repository.
Yeah, it could be easily lead to that because, establish and how to say, is the main, it's mainstream, it's mainstream.
Yeah, federated repository. So it's like that.
Yeah, and to avoid that, something has to be offered that concept-wise and cost-wise, especially, can they can feel it as an alternative. And I don't know if this can be easily offered now, or still we have to think about it. Anyhow, they are not contradictory efforts, what I see.
Yeah.
I think
yes.
we should not try to establish a persistent identifier that will overrule the next one. I think if we have to create an ecosystem where there are as many persistent identifiers as possible, so people can freely use the one it feels it serves their purpose.
Yeah, so it's one that fits best.
Yes, but with the DOI as a monopoly, that conversation is not there. So I think it's good if there is ARC, there is Handle, and there is different ones, and that's why DCI is not something to be also discarded. Or I think we have to create an ecosystem where there are as many persistent identifiers as possible. So
you mean the cross resolution and so on?
Yeah, and that that is not a centralized. You have to reduce the importance of a DOI. Whatever persistent identifier should do the work.
Yeah. As it was already
If we
proposed
want open
in the
science
concept,
and fair,
yeah.
principles.
Once it was already proposed, the concept of real and prefixes. It's let's say it's what Uniresolver are already doing, but to be honest, I don't like the way they are doing it. But the decentralized system can easily, let's say, grab the functionality, the functionality. For example, if you want to have a gateway, you will have it. If you want to have an agent working as a bridge, it is doable. It is doable, but without any, let's say, writing some plugins or something like that. So you are grabbing the metadata and having at least a backup. I think it should work like that. And once we would have this concept of prefixes, because the realms are for everyone. The list of realms, it's mandatory to have it to maintain it actual. But the prefix could be, it could be, for example, the special dedicated prefix in which all of the metadata are by default encrypted. And to
Okay.
enter the management area of this prefix, your agent key should be signed by all of the members of your small group, for example, the group of universities.
Okay.
I think is actually it's what should be done over the concept of messages. So it's like let's say the chains, the digital implementation of the webs of social trust. Because what we always miss in all of the decentralized systems, and this is what raised the blockchain to its life, it's the absence of the web of social trust. So this could be an implementation. I think, in my opinion, it could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Because,
That
for
can be.
example, because, for example, if someone may register an agent who would prevent you to issue for him the private key and sign it. But then to log in our scheme, which we have
Cool.
already defined, this OTP procedure should be done by only one trusted agent. But this agent is trusted not by all of the network. It is trusted by only one agent. So our agents are
Okay.
free to choose whoever they want to trust. I think it should
Yes.
work like this because this concept I directly borrowed from the concept of the key servers in GPG. Signing keys for example, the Debian packages. Because they are shared in this way, and also as I am now maintaining my small package archive on Ubuntu, I'm pretty familiar with this concept, so I think we could borrow it.
Yeah. And I think it can be easily implemented. People will not have a learning curve for that.
Yeah, because there are already all of the libraries or all of the necessary, at least, software is already written. And this is why, from my side, I plan to write the proof of concept in Python.
Okay. Yeah, I promise that I will look at the document in depth. But
Yeah,
I've been with a little time to do it. Uh,
well, of course,
but
of course, of course. And I would really be very, very appreciated if you would like to give some suggestions.
Okay.
Whatever you want, whatever you consider that it would work, that just please write it down, and then it will be a pretty good kickstart.
Yeah, I will read it and I will try to like share it with Diego, and I think he also have a very clear understanding of this persistent identifier, because he's his subject of study. So
Okay, okay, would be really, really good.
all right, had business to do at the
Yes, yes, of
library.
course. So, yeah, let's return to our businesses. I also have to prepare for the presentation,
Yeah,
which would be on the
good
conference, and
good luck with
yeah,
that.
thank you, thank you. I would be a bit of in need of it.
So
And
in 2 weeks time, but no, in
yes,
27th, we first is 27th.
27th of September, yes,
Yeah,
and on 1st of October, next biweekly meeting.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So but we see you on 27th.
yes,
Bye,
I hope
Andre.
so. I am very hoping. Yeah, bye, thank you, and have a nice
You're
evening.
welcome. Yeah.